All you need to know, the United States now has more unemployed people than job openings. Cheery stuff, right? But I'm going to tell you why it actually is cheery. Here's another wild idea. So stay with me while I explain this. What happens if people figure out that the only real thing in the world when it comes to money is gold and Bitcoin and the crypto ecosystem? In other words, if you were in crypto 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, everyone's like, that's all fake. It's fake. Well, guess what? I don't think it is fake at all. Matter of fact, if you look at what's going on in global bond markets, you look at these really nice dinners, over on Pennsylvania Avenue, where you got all the big tech CEOs that want to build Skynet. You got to ask yourself, is it not time for crypto? Maybe right now. I know the payroll number comes out in 23 minutes, and I know I've been in markets for a long time. Everyone sits at the edge of their seat, wants to know where the number is versus what's expected, and we'll do that. And this is the first number under the new director of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so who knows if he had any time to get the truth out. I think when they see the truth, they're going to see that interest rates are too high, that inflation is probably higher than you think, and so is unemployment. I think the thing you need to look out for, and this is important, the thing you need to look out for in unemployment is, are wages catching up? And when people get laid off, are they staying laid off? Are, people continuing to collect unemployment? I think it's obvious. And even if it's not, the only real thing out there on the planet, literally, is crypto. In other words, why does Goldman now tell people, this is unbelievable. Goldman, where I used to work, just told people that we've entered the era of fiscal dominance. In other words, the only thing that really matters for things like interest rates and currencies is how much money governments spend versus how much they take in. This is not a new theory. Now, you want to hear another new theory? Goldman says Bitcoin is the lead debasement trade. Wow. Goldman says that Bitcoin is the best way to get out of the fiat system and to reflect the view on, fiat, government bonds, even Nvidia. Seen all this nonsense where Nvidia will sell chips to somebody and then pay to rent them back again. Who's fake now? Right? In other words, lead investment banks are going, you really should have Bitcoin in your portfolio. Remember what I told you about this? At 67K, no one wanted it. At 77K in April, and no one wanted it. But at 110, it's the lead debasement trade. It's all about government spending and how crypto reacts. Yeah, dude, no duh. So the payroll number is what it is. It'll come out in 23 minutes. Algos will trade it all day, and then we're going to go back to the exact same thing I'm talking about right now. By the way, on a single coin note, I haven't rechecked it yet this morning, but I did notice after they smashed the market yesterday that, some of our altcoins like Arweave, that's a big GAN pick, is coming back. So you want to check out our picks in Patreon. And we got a couple videos now in the YouTube member area, really expanding our horizons. And don't forget about the VIP live stream tomorrow, where Miss Toby will drop the knowledge. Yesterday, we had this bizarre thing where Nasdaq comes out and says, we're not going to let corporations just issue shares to buy Bitcoin unless the shareholders vote on it. Not realizing not realizing that this new rule helps companies that already own crypto. It helps Tesla. It helps MicroStrategy. It helps Tom Lee's company. It helps anybody who's been buying uber amounts of crypto early. Now, it's probably also going to prevent a lot of companies from doing stupid things if crypto really goes to the moon. And that's a good thing, right? I mean, shareholders should get a say. They should get a say. CEO shouldn't just press a button and print stock, as attractive as that idea might be to us. But guess what? Michael Saylor's company's value just went up. They sold MicroStrategy yesterday on this news. And I have this joke, and it applies to the payroll number. The first reaction is always wrong. Always. So it's like, oh my God, they can't buy crypto without shareholder approval. Everything dumps. Okay. Michael Saylor has like 620,000 Bitcoin. Why do you think he loaded up? He bought 4,000 at 110K. That's why. Looking at some kind of rule change, who's ever going to be able to buy 600,000 Bitcoin at the corporate level? So the treasury companies that have got it all on the books now are now worth so much more because these companies can't proliferate anymore. And companies that have already got it, they're going to get shareholder approval for more, especially as it goes up. So I don't know why everybody all of a sudden got down on both Bitcoin or MicroStrategy. I mean, I've been talking about Bitcoin versus altcoins now for like 2 or 3 days. Like, we know altcoins are due for a major pump. But I do not understand why everybody has forgotten about Bitcoin, except BlackRock. They've been buying a little extra lately. I mean, you got stuff, like I say this every day. You got stuff going on in U.S. government bond markets. Oh, terrible, right? And everyone gave up on Bitcoin, gave like a whole 20-minute talk on how everyone is literally packed it in. And then they had to watch the market go down all day. It's like, oh my God, blank you. I am not participating in this bearish nonsense. I'm not. And even if they smash it on the payroll number, I'm like, okay, buddy, whatever. I mean, I know that the Orange Man had this like big summit yesterday, and all the big boys are there, but now just between me, you, and the wall, when I saw Gates sitting next to Melania, I was like, who let Gates sit next to Melania? And I was like, these New World Order guys, I'm really glad that they're building stuff in the United States, but just call me crazy. I took a look at that and I was like, you know what? I think it's time for Bitcoin. Because I think the guy like Bill can do and say the things that he said and still wind up sitting next to Melania at dinner. I want to own Bitcoin. I'm sorry. I want to own crypto. Matter of fact, I want AIntivirus, right? John McAfee's coin, working on, privacy for downloads and uploads off the internet. You can download a file and they don't know where you are or who you are. Not to mention Janice is all over the place on podcasts. They're coming out with videos. I own the coin. It's like, what happened to humanity? And it was a great comment that some guy made. And I get it. YouTubers can get a rap, but this guy's like, yeah, this guy's perma-bullish. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because every day I see a headline. Like, when Goldman is like, Bitcoin is the lead debasement trade. Okay, you can make fun of the headline, but let me ask you something. What is Goldman really telling you? What are they telling you when they say, well, Bitcoin is the lead debasement trade? What's the flip side? There's something wrong with the dollar. There's something wrong with fiat, right? In other words, big investment bank comes out and says, hey, let's do Bitcoin. I'm like, oh no. What's out there? Something's out there. Something's out there. Where it's the era of fiscal dominance, meaning what governments spend determines what happens. Well, let me ask you something. What happens if they spent too much? And we're all sitting around wondering what the payroll number is going to be. I mean, the payroll number is important, right? I think there's been no job growth for 2 years, and seeing another number is not going to change my mind on that, to be honest with you. And unbelievably, people are still bearish. You can still get a headline on Coinbase. Bitcoin crash brewing. Trader puts bids at 94 and 82K looking for a freakout. Well, in Patreon, in our GAN section, we actually discuss when that will happen. We call it the everything crash. We have a slightly different view in the short term because the positive side of the Orange Man's dinner with, Bill and Sam and friends is that represents the value of AI. AI is so valuable that everyone gets a seat at the table with the President of the United States to make sure that whatever they do it here. Now, meanwhile, in crypto, the same guy, ironically, is selling. Like there's this world liberty weirdness. I don't know. There's a publicity stunt with Justin's son. And I'm like, wait a second. Web 2 gets treated like royalty because billions upon billions get spent. I get it. But it's also the same people are treating crypto like it's a circus. Okay, well, crypto's a circus. Okay, well, what else is new? But the two trades go together. Why is everyone selling Ethereum when it's down? Why is Solana, everyone was like dumping Solana yesterday like they didn't want it, right? I was like, oh my God, it's going lower. Okay. How long is it going to stay down? How long did it stay down yesterday? So the AI trade and the crypto trade have to go together, and they're not going together. I know they had a crypto event at the White House, but not like that dinner last night. And then you just you think about it for a second. You go, okay, where would crypto have to be for all the big people in crypto to not only get a conference, but they would get like a special dinner? Or let me ask you a different question. Do you think they'd ever get a special dinner? Maybe not, because crypto would be disrupting the entire world. That's the thing about AI, right? It's so valuable. It changes and disrupts everything. Well, it's the same thing with crypto, right? I mean, things that we like, Jupiter, Arbitrum. There's one of our lead DeFi plays. We had Pyth for data management, and our lead DeFi play is up 5%. That's in Patreon and YouTube. Big layer ones are up 4%. Why do we care about layer ones? A lender, Clearpool, won by Just Dario, a big antivirus fan and a big fan of reading the fine print of Nvidia accounting. Nvidia or Bitcoin? Which one is fake? All these altcoins represent a tech sector. The tech sector is eating dinner with the president, and the other tech sector, as that was happening, is being thrown out the window like a Dairy Queen cup to get run over by the next 3 cars. That's insane. That's completely bananas. All right, from a chart point of view, Bitcoin has to get above 113. If Bitcoin does get above 113, you could have some robust moves. Notice they tried to hit it yesterday. Not happening. Here's another leading indicator for crypto. So they want to give Elon a $1 trillion pay package. Well, I mean, considering he's like a one-man marketing department on Twitter, and considering that he's got Twitter feeding data into XAI, and then XAI will wind up the LLM that goes along with his robot operating system, creating artificial general intelligence. I would say, yeah, if Elon's worth $1 trillion a year or in general, what's crypto worth? Scientists, $100 million. You got crypto projects that aren't at $100 million. Most crypto projects that we're looking at in the YouTube member area and in Patreon are not worth $100 million. They're not. They're not. And there's a data center being built in the state next to me for $50 billion. Go on CoinMarketCap and find out how many cryptocurrencies are worth more than 50 billion. Not that many. Not that many. And then if you consider like oddball headlines, like gold, everyone's like, El Salvador started buying gold. It's funny. Everybody wants the U.S. government to sell gold to buy Bitcoin. I disagree with that. I think he should just use the tariff money to buy Bitcoin. But it's funny that the Bitcoin guys are now diversifying into gold because they know a parabolic when they see one. Gold's going to go parabolic. There's going to be an issue. It's going to be a failure to deliver gold. In other words, there's more gold IOUs out there than there is physical gold. How does Bitcoin and Ethereum not follow that? The average crypto head is not paying attention to this. It's amazing, right? Remember when everyone was circulating the M2 graph? Everyone on crypto Twitter became an M2 expert. Where are all the M2 experts when you start looking at unemployment, what's going on in the UK, and the value of AI versus the value of crypto? The value of every sector in crypto. I mean, all it takes is one announcement. And think about it in a way, right? Nasdaq as an organization is probably protecting people from insanity by, putting a pause on this whole crypto treasury company thing. But then again, are they afraid? Are the stock guys afraid of crypto? I think they are. They should be. They're going to get disrupted. They're going to get disrupted. And then you go, okay, well, how does that translate into my bags? Well, I mean, how did the Magnificent Seven become the Magnificent Seven? Right? In other words, the new Magnificent Seven is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP. Okay, those would be the four marquee names. Now, who are the three sleepers? Right? Could it be Sui, Avalanche, and Hedera? Could it be Arbitrum, Clearpool, and Ondo? In other words, you realize that somewhere out there, there are multiple cryptocurrencies that could be worth $1 trillion, right? Like you've heard XRP is going to $589. Okay, I just came up with something new right now. 7 top 10 cryptos, 7 top cryptos worth over $1 trillion. And if that was true, where does that put the rest of the market? So whatever payroll number comes out, I mean, to me, this feels like the market's like, okay, yeah, we worry about these things for like a day, and then we don't care. We don't care. It's like, okay, it's a number. It's this, it's that. It's versus expectations. This is so 1990s. You could have multiple cryptocurrencies worth more than $1 trillion, and right now, total crypto market cap of all altcoins outside Bitcoin and Ethereum is only worth $1 trillion. Okay. Joseph says if you put the Nvidia chart with other charts, it will surprise you. Nvidia is so big, it's almost too big to fail. Arendam is here. Welcome. Right. It's like Felix says, since 2025 is so bad, will 2026 be better? Okay. Well, here's a hint. For anybody who's looking for what the rest of 2025 is going to look like, I think you should attend YouTube member podcast tomorrow. You are going to have stunning volatility in 2026. Okay, for sure. And I think it's safe to say that 2025 is not over. either like I'm the village idiot who comes on here every morning while you drink your coffee and is like, wow, this is like really bullish. Even if the market's like down 2%, I don't really care. And especially if they're pushing it down after a Michael Saylor buy, I definitely don't buy into the bearish nonsense because it's been wrong all year. Now, of course, obviously, people's altcoin bags have been destroyed to the point where people are discouraged. And I don't blame Felix. He's like, you know what? Can we get to next year? It was like yesterday. It's like, yeah, I'm bored. Some guys have bullish chart formations. Some guys have bearish chart formations. Everyone is twisted up inside this tiny range. Tiny ranges sometimes launch and become huge trends, right? And this is what I don't think people get this, right? I don't think people understand that if Goldman Sachs says Bitcoin is the best form of money, if Goldman Sachs is saying Bitcoin is the only form of money, then why aren't we buying Algorand? Why aren't we buying layer ones? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's wrong with Cardano? Is Cardano my favorite coin? But I'm sitting here looking at it like it just broke a downtrend on Lux Algo, and it's sitting on top of like a major support point. You know, as is, don't laugh, as is Bitcoin dominance. I mean, you could conceivably have a move here where Bitcoin goes up 10% and ETH follows up like 5 or 6 or 7. I think a 10% update in Bitcoin is possible because everybody just packed it in. Why can't Bitcoin go to 120? You know, it's like, you know, I saw Ivan on Tech had a great thumbnail. Great. Powell, a picture of Bitcoin and BRRR. That they're going to have to spin up the printer in some way. Right now, on one hand, they're keeping, you know, they did a lot of tightening, but they're eventually going to have to turn the printer loose. There's no other way out of the jam that they're currently in, particularly if this payroll number is terrible, right? Whether Powell cuts rates or whether he doesn't, Ivan on Tech is right. The printer is going to get spun up, and I think it's going to be high-powered money, which is why stocks don't go down because they know the same thing. And that brings us to the mystery of why everyone, like yesterday, was negative crypto. It was like down, up, down, today is up. You know, and at this payroll number in 4 minutes, if the algos like it, okay. And if the algos don't like it, Bitcoin will be back tomorrow. Not just Bitcoin, but all of it. I mean, I've been telling people for days that in Patreon, we had 280, 275, 285 is the buy zone for XRP. And we had 109 to 111. This came from our GAN model as the buy zone for Bitcoin. And what's changed? Nothing. Just that the market gave you 2 extra days of boredom or 3 extra days of frustration. And from great pain comes great opportunity because they bored you. And it looked terrible today. I was like, oh my God. Can't even look at this. I came out with this like super bullish orange thumbnail. I was like, yeah, let's go. You can't let them mind trick you out of this market. T-Bone, what's up? Reminding people to hit the like button and subscribe because we do this on a regular basis. Okay, Wolf Riot Star, a YouTube member. T-Bone and Wolf Riot Star as YouTube members get cool emojis next to their name. Tooth, a member, is here. Welcome. Daniel J. Some new names. Bjorn, Union Crypto, Pranye Singh, right? He's liking the content. I appreciate that, sir. Thought Gaming says, hey, bro, I need $1. Please give it to me. I need it. Okay, well, let's take that seriously. Seriously, let's think about it. Some guy's like, hey, help me out. Do you know how many people are in that position? A lot. And you know what they're going to discover in 3 days, 4 days? They're going to discover the green button. They're going to discover the green button. Mojo is here. Yav Art from the Amsterdam airport. God bless, man. Cepedas, Kevin, Donato first on the stream. Welcome. Tyler Hall from the Antivirus universe. You know, these dummies push that antivirus McAfee privacy meme coin below 3 million market cap today. I mean, they're releasing an anime series of all the things that McAfee was talking about. Everything that he was talking about. I mean, I know that this is a sensitive topic and I know this is a crypto show, but here's a reminder. I was a big fan of Bobby last fall. Big fan. Went to see him in person. He was the guy who invented the concept of the Bitcoin strategic reserve, etc. Man, when I listened to Bobby yesterday and Bobby was talking and, you know, it felt like McAfee healthcare. It's like, you know what? You listen, you're not nice, you're corrupt, and I'm going to tell you how it really should be. That's what John McAfee did. That's what antivirus is all about, right? So when you see guys like Tyler, you see guys like you know, John Anti, you know, putting a message out there, that message is to help you. McAfee did the things he did to eventually one day help everybody. And most of what he talked about is consensus. And the most important thing he talked about was about cryptocurrency. He wrote the Declaration of Cryptocurrency Independence. So whatever they do on the payroll number today, whether they love it or they hate it, especially if they love it, are you thinking about your independence? Because I got news for you. Bitcoin at 113 still has the ability to free somebody. XRP at 287 is a joke. Everyone's talking about ETH at 8K and Ethereum, as we noted yesterday, is selling. Like, print the chart out, circle yesterday and go, you know, consensus or ETH Foundation sells. Right before the payroll number. Really? Notice Solana can't get below 200, right? First, Solana couldn't stay above 180. Now it can't go down below 200. And here's my final note. What happens? What happens if this rally lasts like 10 days? And holy schmoly says, unemployment is real. 6 months for me. Sir, I've been there and my heart goes out to you. If anybody knows how to help holy schmoly, put a comment down below for real and help your fellow man. In the meantime, the best way to help your fellow man is to help yourself. Put your crypto oxygen mask on, get out there and get busy. SUI up 4%, Arrow up 6%. We will see you soon.